class, we're going to do a brief run through today for the entrepreneur interview. And this video will have a few parts. The first part, I'll talk to you about what the materials are that are posted online. The second part, I'll show you how you might approach an entrepreneur about the project and the things you need to tell them in the phone call or email ahead of time. And then I'll show you an example of how the survey and interview process with both the entrepreneur and the employee might go. For the entrepreneurship interview, you need to secure an entrepreneur who has at least 2 employees, and also secure their permission to allow you to interview both them and their employee. And then you'll also need to secure the employee's permission to be interviewed and fill out the survey as well. So online, you have the guidelines that tell you all about the interview process, and I won't read through all of these, I'll just hit the highlights. And then you also have an informed consent and survey for the entrepreneur, and it says owner manager, and for the employee. You'll notice that the owner manager survey is a bit longer. Each of these surveys have a consent form on top, and it's critical that the entrepreneur and the employee both sign and initial the consent forms in any places where there's an opportunity to do so, and then you will sign them as the witness. And we'll show you how to work through that process in one of the subsequent videos. So when you meet with the entrepreneur, it must be in person, and with the employee as well. You want to make sure that you set these well ahead of time, because oftentimes entrepreneurs are busy and they may cancel or need to reschedule, and giving yourself some leeway here can be really helpful. With the surveys, you can contact the entrepreneur ahead of time and ask them, would they like for you to drop off the surveys in advance, or bring them the day of the interview, or to scan them in and email them to them so they can have it finished when you arrive for your interview. The interview itself for the entrepreneur and then subsequently for the employee should take about 45 minutes each. That's a good threshold if they want to know how long they should schedule you in the calendar. Once you're finished with the interview, I'll show you in a moment what you'll need to do with the surveys. The guidelines also have interview questions, both for the entrepreneur and the employee, and these interview questions are not a script, but they're at the back of the project, and they give you really nice guidelines on what you need to cover in your interview, and the questions in the guidelines are what you will actually use to write your report. The surveys are simply separate documents that will come in sealed envelopes, and you'll never really touch those or review the material in them except to deliver them back. The interviews, where you actually ask them the questions in the guidelines, are what you will write your report on and how you will be graded, in addition to a brief paragraph related to each one about what you learned. Okay? So I'll show you in just a moment how you may contact your owner or manager and the things you'll need to tell them in that initial contact. Hi, Ms. Bolton. My name is Whitney Peak, and I'm a student at Western Kentucky University, and one of our projects is to interview a successful entrepreneur and one of their employees. And I was wondering if you would have time for me to stop in the next few weeks for an interview, and then subsequently to interview one of your employees. We also have a survey that goes along with it, which I can send you ahead of time so you can have it completed when I arrive, or I can bring it with me. Would you have time to meet with me? Okay, wonderful. That sounds great. Next week is spring break, and that would be a great time to get this finished. So just to give you a quick overview, I'll have some questions I'll be asking you and your employee personally and separately, and then I'll have a survey for each one of you. That survey has a consent form that I would need you to sign and initial, and then complete the survey that's attached to it. There are 3 options. I can either send you the survey ahead of time via email and scan it in, and you can print it out and complete it on your own time, or I can drop it off at a time that's convenient for you and your employee and pick it up at the interview, or I can bring it the day of interview. If you just let me know what works best for you, I'll be absolutely happy to do that. Okay, you would prefer me to drop it by ahead of time? Excellent. I'll be thrilled to do that. And so then I will see you next Wednesday, and we'll have the interview portion, and I'll pick up the surveys while I'm visiting. Thanks so much. Bye.
Come in.
Oh, hi, Ms. Bolton. I'm Whitney Peak, the student at WKU that called you.
Have a seat.
Oh, thank you. I see you've got your survey out. That's wonderful.
I do.
Actually, if you don't mind, I also have some questions I'm going to ask you, but I want to, if we can, I'd like to get this knocked out first.
Okay.
So, I see that you've signed and dated it. Thank you so much. I'll sign as the witness. And then There are a couple of things here I'm also going to ask you to initial. I noticed that you didn't have that on there. And I just want to explain to you what it means. So the first one is that you agree to recording of the research. And that doesn't necessarily mean video recording. I didn't bring an audio or video recording, but it means I'm going to take notes. And so that I can write a report about this and submit it to my teacher. Is that okay?
Yes.
If it's okay, please initial here.
Okay.
And then I talked to you on the phone about also interviewing one of your employees, and I have to have your authorization before I'm allowed to talk to that employee. Could you please initial here too?
Sure.
Thank you very, very much. And I see that you've completed the survey. Did you have any questions about that?
No, it's pretty straightforward.
Okay. And then I think I forgot to tell you about the 7-digit code. I'm going to go ahead and fill that in for you. That's just my class number and the last 4 of my WKU ID. So that's what I need. So for me, I'm in class 312, and the last 4 of my ID are on here. So that's perfect. Thank you. So what we need to do then, I'm going to ask you to please remove the consent form from the document.
Okay.
Perfect. Thank you. And if you would, I would ask you to please put your survey in here so that I'm not looking through it.
Okay.
If you would, fold it up, put it in the envelope, seal the envelope, and then sign the seal, please.
Okay.
Thank you. And this makes sure that nobody has any identifiable information on you whenever I hand the survey into my professor. Thank you. And so now we'll start with the interview. Can you tell me a little bit about your business?
Yes. Yeah, and then you get this too, right? Okay.
Thank you so much for your time. I really appreciate it. I learned so much. I'm going to take your survey and I'll keep it in this envelope, and it won't be opened until my professor gets it. And then I'll also take your consent form separately and hand it into her as well. So
Okay.
thank
Great.
you.
Thank you.
So nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you too.
Hi, Miss Collins. I'm Whitney Peak. So nice to meet you. I'm the student from WKU that called to talk to you about the interview. And this is this. I see you've got your survey out. That's wonderful. Thank you. And then have you already signed the consent form? Okay. Oh, fantastic. So there's one thing I'm going to ask you to initial before I sign. It just says that you agree to video recording of this research. I'm not going to record it except to take notes. But if you wouldn't mind to sign that, it allows me to write a report about our interview and submit it to our instructor. Thank you. And then I'm going to sign it as the witness. Thank you so much for doing this. Was there anything in the survey that you didn't understand or that was unclear?
No, everything.
Okay, great. Well, it looks like it's completely finished. I noticed I forgot to give you the 7-digit code on our phone call. So I'm just going to put my course number and the last 4 of my WKU ID, and that will be the 7-digit code. And that's the only way we'll identify you in the survey, so no one will ever have your name attached to the survey. Okay. And so then what we'll do is we'll separate these. Okay. And I'm going to ask you, before we get started in the interview, if you wouldn't mind to put that in this envelope, seal it, and then sign the seal. That way, your boss can never see anything that you said about him in the survey. Thank you so much. Okay, good. Wonderful. And if you don't mind, now we'll start with the interview. Okay. Ms. Collins, thank you so much for your time today. I really appreciate it, and I feel like I learned so much. So thank you.
Have a great day.
Well, great. Thank you. I'll take your survey and your consent form, and I'll hand those into my instructor, and I'll let you know how things turn out. Thank you.
Welcome.